Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? We're gonna start this VOD kind of cold turkey, and I've been having a bad couple of days. I've been having a bad couple of days. I don't know about you guys, but I stayed up really late last night. Lost a lot of sleep. We'll talk about those reasons in a little bit. But here, we'll just start the stream with this instead. Try not to laugh challenge. I don't normally do that, but I think everybody could use a pick-me-up today, okay? So here is your try not to laugh challenge. Here, let me just make sure the audio is good. There we go. All right. Try not to laugh. Is your back doing better? Oh, no, not at all. All right, here's your try not to laugh challenge.
Obaj podpór przodem.
You win. I lost. I lost that really bad. I was laughing so hard at that I had to get out of bed because my back hurt. I see you laugh. No, I lost. The ladies are not amused. We need a turbo engine blow off sound. Oh, the original? You want the original try not to laugh? You want the original? Okay, we can find the original. This is the original try not to laugh from back in the day.
Ding 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 dum dum bum bum bam bam bum 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 bim bum 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 rim run run ram ba 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 ring
Ring ding 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 dong dong dong. Anything exciting happened last night? No. Well, yeah. That was the original one. Why does it sound like a dirt bike? Graham, you guys were merely adopted into the brain rot. I was born into it. Molded by it. You were merely adopted into the brain rot. Gen Z, you think you guys invented brain rot. That's cute. That's cute. I was doing brain rot. I was doing brain rot 20 years ago, boy. On E-Bomb's World. And Newgrounds and albino black sheep. Badger. Homestar. Yeah, exactly. Yep. How's everybody doing? So, yeah, it's inevitable. We'll talk about it. If you guys haven't seen it, and we'll talk more about this during Space News. What I want to do in Kerbal today is, well, hopefully, thanks for the bits. We were doing brain rot on 56K modem. Some of us on 28K. Not me. That's 28K is before my time. But yeah, my spoon is too big. So this is the footage from Dwice. So D took this footage. Ship 36, if you didn't see it, was on the test stand last night. And it didn't end well. Yeah. Yeah. That's the first thing, William, that popped into my head. Oh, I don't have to worry about it launching when I'm gone. High five! He gets gifted five subs. Thank you. You remember Joe cartoon? Yeah, man. Dude, I've been on the internet. I've been terminally on the internet since probably like 1998, 2000. Yeah. I was on the internet as a wee lad. Been on the internet for a long time. I didn't do that whole high school thing very well because I was on the internet all the time. I would not want to be downwind of that. Can't be good for the lungs. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Kippy, what's going on? The ship QD is pretty much gone, so good to see you back. Hey, Mike. So right now I'm sitting in my chair with a giant brick of ice. I'm just sitting on a giant brick of ice right now, and that's what's keeping this this stream afloat right now. So don't give the ice pack your energy because it'll melt. Thermodynamics. We don't need to give it any energy. Take all the energy out of it, and that'll keep me going. So, I mean, the tiles are basically glass. They're fibrous, so yeah, it's kind of like fiberglass mixed with like asbestos. When I lit a tile off on stream that one time, yeah, there's a reason why I haven't done that again. Not because anybody told me to, but because it smells like burnt fiberglass. Yeah, that's probably not good for you. So I haven't done it since. Yeah. Hey, worst 33-month resub. Yeah, but it was a good test for thermodynamics. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, nice. Stream is a live soundtrack, W. Very good. I'm sure those small particles are perfectly safe. Last night was eventful. Yeah, that's D's footage is amazing. D did an amazing job. Like, why? Just why? Can't see me, it happens, man. The ship activated its cloaking device, that's all. You're gonna mount the tile to a vehicle of your own. Unlikely. You gonna show the one from NSF with actual live commentary? Maybe. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah, there goes the methane tank. Oh. Oh, there's a COPV right there. Wait a minute. Interesting. Fellas, there's a COPV right there that's not leaking anything. So either it's empty or it hasn't popped.
Oh.
Yeah, they got the...
I'm in space.
Let's look at the positives. They got the payload bay door to open. Forcibly. But was I right, Pandaroo, about the payload bay pressurizing? The payload bay pressurizes. We know because we saw it overpressurize here and blow the bulkhead like instantly. See?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
We should name ship 36 Orlando. Hey, sneaky 82-month resub. You had your worst back spasm in a while, and the Starship program had its worst run in a while. Are your back and the success of Starship interconnected? Well, my back was good. My back was just fine when on past missions that were successful, but it was fine during Flight 7 and 8. So Elon says preliminary data suggests that a nitrogen COPV in the payload bay failed below its proof pressure. Fellas, that happens when someone drops it. That happens when someone mishandles the COPV. Ship 36 did an Oppenheimer. It's almost 6 all over again. Pretty much. Yeah, like transmissions. Hey, that transmission works just fine, okay? So if we take D's footage and we slow it down, Elon also said just a scratch. Yeah, guys, I'm not worried. First and foremost, like we'll do a more in-depth thing during space news. We'll do a more in-depth thing during. I ain't worried. They'll rebuild the test stand. Probably a month delay, maybe 2, maybe. I'm not worried. D's who? D's wise. V2 seems really unreliable. The Starship is probably literally carried on EJ's back. Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry. I'm carrying the team. So, look. There is an overpress event in here. A big overpressurization. Inside of the payload volume. Starship has its composite overwrap pressure vessels mounted right here. Now, what are COPVs? Actually, you know what? I'll do a more in-depth analysis during space news. Long story short, something overpressurized the payload bay. Overpressurizing the payload bay made the header tanks very unhappy. You could tell because of the way it is. So there's 2 fuel tanks up there. It made them very unhappy. You could see that and the transfer tube line for the tanks. You could see that exploding in this, and the resulting overpressurization looks like it caved in the methane tank dome, because you have propellant mixture right here, and you have atomization right there, which means there's methane in the mix. Now, that methane could be from the transfer tube lines or the header tank. So Starship has 2 fuel tanks up at the very front, embedded in the nose. They look like balls. Fuel is stored in the balls. And they popped. But the point of ignition seems to be around the methane tank. And you could tell it explodes because of the way it is. There's COPVs, pressurized COPVs shooting out all over the place here. That's usually what happens when rockets explode. So, interesting thing here. Very bright, very indicating a lot of energy. But the interesting thing here is that if you look, you get different color flames up here, which means because you have different color flames here to here, and then unexploded liquid oxygen right there, fellas. Or it could be nitrogen too inside of the COPVs. That could be GN2, it could be GOX, it could be whatever. You're not getting a stoichiometric mixture here, which is kind of in line with the ship because it had way more liquid oxygen on board than methane, because that's how they test. They use LOX as ballast. So, look. Now see the color change? I mean, D's shot is perfect because D set their exposure rates very, very nicely. Look, see right here, down here, LOX everywhere. That most likely is the LOX tank exploding because the methane tank popped, right? You see the liquid oxygen basically splashing the entire, like dousing the entire test site in liquid oxygen. See it down here? It explodes and it goes out like a waterfall. Watch. It'll just... So, interesting thing here. Look, you have unburnt liquid oxygen down here. You have high energy stoichiometry right here. And then you have methane rich up here. See the darker clouds? The darker clouds indicate fuel rich, like Falcon 9. Falcon 9 runs fuel rich and it has sooty flames. Now, Falcon 9 uses RP1. It uses hydrocarbons. I'm going to go over here so you can see D's name. It has hydrocarbons in it. The methane is not that far off from, like, hydrocarbons. Methane is CH4, so you still have carbon. All this stuff is unburnt carbon and some unburnt hydrogen. So you have extremely fuel-rich here, stoichio down here, and then extremely lean. In an extremely lean environment, liquid oxygen can basically put out the flame, and that's basically what it does. The problem is, in this moment, it's just fine. The problem is you're about to douse the entire test stand in liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen oxidizes things. and things that are oxidized explode really, really nicely. Hence what you're about to see.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, friend to all. Farts are flammable. Yeah. You could see pressure vessels here and here. Pressure vessels that are not pressurized, interestingly enough. Or they, oh no, they already leaked out all their pressure, so they're broken. Oh yeah, see that? Yeah, see that? That's bad. Yeah, see this whole thing going on here? They doused the entire test stand with locks, and it found something. Liquid oxygen doesn't explode by itself. It has to atomize with something. When it atomizes with something, it blows up real good. That's why they use it as rocket propellants. But still look, you have lean down here. There's so much liquid oxygen in the tank that it's splashed out everywhere, and it's putting out the flames down here. You have stoichiometric right here, and then you have fuel rich up here. It looks like half the ship fell over. There's a piece of it right there, Geek, and there's another piece of it right there. Most likely, if I had to guess, that's probably part of the payload bay, because the initial overpressure event pushed the payload bay kind of up into the side, and then the second explosion probably made it sail a little bit. See up here, you have the LOX that was most likely in the header tank. See it pouring out over there? Yeah, look, once again, very lean, stoic, very fuel rich, which is in line with the ship. If there was more methane here, there would be no like pad left. Massey's would be a gigantic crater. Believe it or not, the LOX doused it. It put out most of the flames. That's really weird to say. Like, that's not really how that works. But in this case of just crazy amounts of liquid oxygen, it probably put some of it out. It probably doused it. But also at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, you could put out a fire with liquid oxygen. No, don't do that. LOX can combine with methane pretty much in any capacity to make an explosion. I forget the word. What's the word for that? Hold on, I gotta look it up. I can't reach for the damn mouse without my back going bananas. Yeah, ma'am, and yeah, it's broken. Yeah, that's not good for it. No, it's not reactant. It's miscible. That's the thing. That's what it's called, miscible. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. No, it's miscible, meaning any type of methane can mix with liquid methane can mix with any type of liquid oxygen, and you'll get an explosion no matter what the ratio. That's why Raptor works so well, because methane and liquid oxygen can basically combine in any ratio and produce an explosion. The energy of the explosion makes a big difference, though. Yeah. Okay, J-Speed. Yep. Mm-hmm. Miscible is the word. So, like I said, the LOX is snuffing out some of the flames, but wherever there's methane, it's just going to combine and explode. But see, like, that's what I mean. It put out most of it. The only place you're getting a really, really energy-rich fire here, so like a good mixture, is basically the methane lines coming from the fuel tanks here. Could you imagine what happened if it detonated? Well, like I said, methane and LOX can combine in pretty much any ratio and they'll explode. That's not always the case with deflagration.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
That's not always the case. It depends on what you're using. I did look into this. I spent a lot of time looking into this last night. So the ULA sniper is to blame. Yes, precisely. Hellfish, in order to produce a detonation, you would have needed a lot more energy. I.e., the methane. If the methane tank was full, there would be no pad left. It would have looked like the Pepcon explosion. The fact that it was full of LOX, right? Now, the LOX did combine with whatever methane it found and did produce a pretty righteous explosion. All that liquid oxygen is actually snuffing out some stuff. It's snuffing out a little bit, but also at the same time, anywhere it's going to combine with any type of hydrocarbon, so paint on the test stand, the methane lines, it's probably boiling off all the water suppression water, because those are water tanks right there. Probably boiling those off. Anytime it can combine with something with hydrogen or carbon in it, you're gonna have a bad day. But it did seem to snuff out most of the flames, which is pretty crazy. But that doesn't mean the pad isn't totally toast. It would be interesting to see pictures. Yeah. I will give a more detailed explanation a little bit later. I would like to play Kerbal, and I would like to try to build that post-Saturn launch vehicle. We found a pretty interesting PDF the other day about post-Saturn launch vehicles. They get pretty large. I want to build that in KSP, at least a scale replica of it. We should be able to do that. That shouldn't be an issue. We'll talk more about that during Space News. Jack's video had a lot of the popping noises. Did you see Jerry's photos of the pad? I have not seen Jerry Pike's photos of the pad. So I know what we're inevitably going to be asked, and I'll elaborate more into this later. Yeah, see, here's Jerry's picture. See what I mean? It burnt all the paint. It burnt the paint off of the stand. The tent got burnt down because it got doused in liquid oxygen. There's the stand, and there's the remnants of the ship. I think some of the remnants are in the river from that Raptor Roost video that we saw. But see how it burned the paint right off? That's what I mean. The LOX doused it, and it did put out some stuff, but it also burned up a lot of stuff, too. It doesn't look too bad. Could have been a lot worse. I mean, yeah, Tessa, that's why you... Yeah, that's why you test this stuff. It happens, guys. I'll give a little bit more on my conclusions. Guys, it's going to sound completely screwed. I don't think this is a big problem. I really don't. I'll tell you more about why in Space News. It is a gut punch for sure. That sucks. That really sucks. You don't want to lose a ship like that, but... Yeah. I don't think it's a big deal. Massey's, you guys got to remember... once again, I'll elaborate more into why a little bit later. Long story short, guys, Massey's was built in 2 months. That test stand was built in 2 months from scratch. From scratch. Don't worry about it. It's fine. SpaceX could go bankrupt. You could be chilling. Pop, actually, that's part of the reason why I'm not too worried. Starlink is funding the Starship program indefinitely. It can more than pay for this R&D. In fact, like I said, that's the reason why I'm not panicking. Dude, they got money. They got money. It's fine. They got deep pockets. This is the same reason why I put a lot of confidence in Blue. Now, don't get me wrong. To be absolutely sure with space programs, to be like absolutely realistic here, money doesn't fix all your problems. Look at SLS. It's programmatic management. Management and culture in your company or space program very much makes a difference. The Apollo program didn't succeed just because it had a high budget. It succeeded because the people there understood the assignment, long story short. Now, not to say that like projects like SLS don't understand the assignment. I'm pretty sure I know people that build the rocket, and their only really criticism of their job is that they want to build more of them, which, once again, but funding isn't your end-all be-all. It's management too. And like I said, I don't think Blue or SpaceX are managed by imbeciles, to be honest with you, to be very candid. They'll be fine, guys. Rebuild the test stand. Rebuild the test stand and keep going. But you got to, you got to figure out why that happened. Do you think this will trigger any sort of NASA investigation? No. If this was like, Geek, if it was like a finished prototype, like with human habitation modules in it, and it wasn't like a, you know, V2 iterative mitigation thing, if this was like STS1, I mean, hopefully with no people on it, and it did that, then we'd be looking at problems. Is it me or is EJ's microphone peaking? I don't see it peaking on my end, but I'll turn it down just to be sure. Last night I was thinking I might be able to see a starship flying over Florida. I no longer believe this. They'll get it when they'll get it, Chaz. But once again, fellas, you'd be absolutely off your gourd to think that SpaceX isn't going to get it. They're fine. Like, if this was SpaceX from 5 years ago and you suffered an anomaly like this, I'd be worried. Like,
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
I'm sorry about your VOD getting claimed from the trailer. Hope this helps. Also, holy frick, that big boom.
yeah, it could have been bigger. I'm still kind of scared of people on it without escape. Noswolf, it's the system's engineering requirements are that it works like an airplane. I hate bringing this up, but airplanes don't have any abort past V2. There's no abort contingency there. Find a flat piece of land is the abort contingency. Gain altitude, try to get back to the airport. If we want to be able to take a vacation into space, dude, you're going to have to break eggs like this. Now, that is not to say in any way, shape, or form that, you know, like we should be sacrificing, like we shouldn't do a Jebediah Kerman or something and just willy-nilly kill people. These tests are uncrewed for a reason. But, yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's like an airplane, dude. If you want your rocket to work like an airplane, it's got to be as reliable as an airplane. The only way you're really going to get to that point is just testing it. There's no amount of simulation that you can do to try and bridge this type of technology. You just got to test it. Now, fortunately, in the modern day and age, we don't have to put people on it, right? Airplanes didn't become rapidly reusable overnight. You know what I mean? The Wright Flyer needed a catapult. Needed a catapult to launch. Right? Flyer? You need a catapult to launch, dude. We didn't get to building the DC-3 overnight. That took 3 decades. 3 decades of flight. Fortunately, you know, in our modern age, we could test it without people on board, you know? It was a COPV, almost 6 part 2. Shaw, I've really narrowed this fault tree down in my mind with the information presented. This is all speculation. I've narrowed this down in my mind to 2 things. Either they were testing something differently than the previous tests, which does make sense. We've seen SpaceX do different testing regimes for 33, 34, 35, and now 36. We've seen them do different testing regimes. This has happened. Okay? So they could have put it into an unknown failure mode, and that could have been the end of that. Straight up. Or someone dropped a COPV. It very much looks like a COPV failed. This looks exactly like Amos 6. It's kind of, the parallels are kind of uncanny. Yeah, Nanis, exactly. I mean, fortunately, SpaceX is in a position where we don't have to put human lives at stake. Oh, dear. Nice. Need backup. That's good. Alex mentioned something about moving the flaps before the OP event. I think that's just coincidence, dude. The flaps aren't gonna... I mean, the flaps could maybe undervolt something, but... I mean, maybe it undervolted a valve in the COPVs, but, dude, we've seen them flap these types of flaps before, right? And nothing has happened. So once again, Geek, that's why my first and biggest thing is that they were testing something different, right? If you flapped the flaps previously and it worked, and you changed something and you flapped the flaps this time and it blew up, well, what did you change, right? This is how fault tree analysis works. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that because there's a bajillion different variables, right? COPVs are composite overwrap pressure vessels. They're very, very, very lightweight, extremely strong scuba tanks. That's the right way to look at it. I mean, it's just it looks like a scuba tank that's wrapped in carbon fiber. They are also a very sensitive component. You should not drop those. If you mishandle a COPV or you don't clean it out correctly, it'll pop. It'll pop. That's what happens. Never learned a damn thing from something I did right. We learn, we move on. Thing is I'm most bummed about is that the next launch is at minimum 3 months. I'd say late August, Dean. Yeah, it's kind of like a fireman's tank. Composite overwrap pressure vessel is what it's called. If this did originate with the COP... Excuse me. For a second, I have to readjust. If this did originate with the COPVs... sorry, I'm stretching my back, guys. This is the worst. I've never had a back spasm this bad since I herniated a disc. Since when I originally hurt my back. This is the worst it's been in probably about 10 years. Are the COPVs outsourced? Yes, most likely. Seriously, late August? Sure. Why not, Vic? Why not? You guys got to understand. Okay, listen. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. The Massey's test site was built from scratch in about 2.5 months. The test site was built from scratch. 2.5 months. That's all it took. For the test site. For the thing that exploded last night. That's going from scratch. From nothing to a fully functioning test stand. There's Massey's right there. That's going from this. Actually, this picture is from 2023. It's unrecognizable. Doesn't even look like how it looks now. Let's see. They went from basically a blank canvas. The test stand is right there, fellas. Now, you guys got to remember that test stand has a flame trench and a flame bucket, and it goes out here. They dug that hole and did all this in 2 months. Well, 2.5 months to be very sure. That was done in 2.5 months. From scratch. They'll fix it. It's fine. They'll fix it. You gotta probably, I probably wouldn't use the head crab looking thing. I probably wouldn't use it. Because it's probably been a little bit heat treated. Probably not strong anymore. Whenever you heat metal like that with fire, it gets weak and brittle. So I'd probably make another one. But the other thing you got to take into account is that Sanchez is up and running. Sanchez site is where the SpaceX builds all their GSE. That's where they build tower segments, the OLM, everything here. They can make another one. Just make another one. Point is that they built that from scratch in about 2.5 months. It's not going to take 2.5 months to rebuild it. It's not. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. All of SpaceX's production facilities are intact. All the tankage is intact. Now, once again, might have to replace a couple of those for sure. SpaceX, dude, ain't no shortage of tanks. They can buy more. These are off-the-shelf storage tanks. They'll rebuild it. I guarantee you Massey's will be up and running, I don't know, a month. Remember this. I said this on June 19th, 2025. By July 19th, they'll have it rebuilt. Because what other choice do they have? What other choice do you have? You don't have another choice. Could they test on the launch stand in the meantime? I wouldn't, especially if it does that, geek. I wouldn't do that. COPVs were originally developed for the fire service, weren't they? No, the first COPVs were actually an aerospace development. The space shuttle used them because they figured out after they built the space shuttle that it was fat and thick and really heavy. So they needed to find a way to make pressure vessels that were a lot lighter than hydroforming them. So take that into account. They get Massey's basically operational again in the middle of July. Probably about 2 weeks to make sure that there's no kinks in the system at all. Ship test campaign, first, second week of August. Launch by the end of August. 3 months at best. Guys, and once again, this isn't the first time SpaceX has obliterated a test stand in the Starship program. It ain't the first time. SN4, SN3 and SN4 both obliterated the suborbital pads they were on. Their test stands. They obliterated, especially SN4. It happens. Rebuild it and start again. Once again, SpaceX has the cash behind them, and that's all I really care about. They have the cash, and they have the programmatic structure to rebound from this. I'm really not worried. I can say that pretty much honestly. I'm not worried. There's a clip of NSF yesterday where the rocket blew on the BBC website. Fame at last. Dude, I heard Jack Byers' voice on Good Morning America this morning. Ship 37 had cryo already, and we saw that it's getting its engines. Could they spin prime it on the launch tower and launch it without a static fire? Trapo, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. You're asking it to explode again. You don't want to. No. I know I said now is the time to go fast, right? But what you don't want to do is screw your testing regime right now. If you want to prove, if you want to maximize your success for good flight data for the next flight, wherever that might be. Yes, I said wherever. It's probably from Boca Chica, let's be real. If you want to maximize your success, you want to test the same way you tested this one, minus the explosions. So SN4 exploded on May 29th. SN5 was testing on that pad on June 30th. Like I said, Pandrew, I'm not worried. It's a test stand. You didn't lose a launch pad. More importantly, you didn't lose any of your production facilities. You didn't lose any of your production facilities. And they already have manufactured components for Massey's. They can manufacture another one. The first time you go to build something, it takes a long time. The second time you go to build it, it does not take nearly as much because you know exactly how to build it. Case in point. If I don't think the camera's working for the automotive stuff. Oh, it is. All right, nice. If I did this all over again, I would do this differently. And I would do it in a way that's way faster. Because now I understand what I need to fix. I mean, I'm honestly pissed that I can't work on the car because of my back, but I threw out my back on Tuesday, in case anybody's wondering. Or Monday? Monday, yeah. It's not fun. Not having a good time. Yeah, I did it reaching for a mouse on the table, like on stream. It was great. You would have replaced the frame rails in retrospect? Probably. Yeah, can't see me. Yeah, that's what I probably would have done. I really, when I first tried to do it, I was like, nah, this is out of my wheelhouse. I can't dude, it's just metal. It's just metal. Like, I can get it plumb straight. I'm confident enough. But the reason why I'm confident enough that I could get it plumb straight is because we went to hang the leaf spring perch, the leaf spring perch on the driver's side frame rail, and we got it dead on balls accurate. It's perfect. Like, dude, that's what I did get to do. Like in my time, I did make it out to the shop yesterday, and I really couldn't do much. So I took the plumb and checked the driver's side leaf spring perch to our original plumb mark. It's perfect. It is like dead on within a 1/16 of an inch of our original plumb marks, dude. I'm not worried. Like, that's what I mean. I needed to get that confidence. I needed to make sure that I could line this thing up despite no frame jig. Whatever. Bless EJ's back. Thanks, Space Pope. So yeah, man. I was not confident in my ability to be able to replace the flame rail and get it straight. Now I am. Like I said, if we started on the Coronet right now, I'd just say replace it. Just replace the frame rails. Just replace them. But what? Like, what's the point? Like, why sit there and try to struggle, right? But that's also, we have the retrospect from what you've been, what you guys have been teaching me with the welder. I understand a lot better how the welder works now. Like, that's the other thing. You had to do some sacrifice here. So like I said, that's what SpaceX does. That's what they do. They do the same thing. You would have done it differently. But the second time you would have done it, you're going to do it faster. So to bring this back, I don't want to talk about cars all the time, and I want to get into KSP. To bring this back to where we were, dude, they'll rebuild. They built Massey's in 2.5 months. They'll build it faster this time. It's going to get built way quicker. I guarantee you it'll be up in a month. Why wouldn't it be? Metal's cold, ugly. Wood's warm, clean. Yeah, wood sucks. I actually like working with metal better. Roman Kalitri is 100% wrong. Metal's easier to work with if you have the means. You know why metal's more forgiving? Because you can add back to it. You can't do that with wood. Wood is subtractive manufacturing through and through, and there's no way to add it back with. I mean, there is, but metal is much easier to additively manufacture. Is that MDF then? What do you mean? Did you hear the good news about the Starship incident last night? At least the payload bay door opened this time. Yeah. What year is your F-100? It's a 59. You could smack metal with a big hammer and it not break. Would you smack it? The hammer will break. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Dean with a $10 super chat. Also for the VOD getting claimed. Hope your back feels better. Is it safe for SpaceX personnel to walk around at Massey's? I wouldn't have done that last night, Ari. But right now, yeah, I don't see why not. As long as the tanks aren't pressurized, the tank farm isn't pressurized, you're fine. I mean, let's be real. It probably boiled off all the propellants or burned off all the propellants at this point. With glue, you can kind of add wood back. Yeah, but it's not as strong as if you didn't, right? Metal, you could just add it back and it's just as strong. That's what, dude, I love metal is like amazing. And metal is amazing too, right? Like, I would say they will be rebuilding Massey's by the 4th. I'd like to see that. We'll be finished faster. Ship 37 for static fire testing. Massey's rebuilt or GTA 6. I don't know. Hey, last night kind of sucked. Who cares? I mean, I feel for the people that worked on that thing. It really, really, really sucks seeing all your hard work quite actually go up in flames. That's a really big gut punch, to be sure. Build another one. They already done that. Build another one. Build one after that. There's a wood fiber 3D printer filaments now. Yeah. Not really the point I'm trying to make, Dean, but yeah, that's cool. That's not really what I'm getting at, but yeah, okay. So, once again, it blew up the test stand. So what? So what? It's easy to forget the early days of the Starship program. This is not the first time this exact thing has happened where a ship blows up. Where a ship blows up on a test stand. This is not... Look. Oh, this gets loud, by the way. This was... Guys, look. 5 years ago, man. Same thing. Oh, it's gonna get loud, by the way. See? Well, actually, I had the volume turned down. That's not bad. Mary took this footage right here. Dude, that's a similar scale of test stand. That's a similar scale of test stand to Massey's. It's very similar. Massey's a little more complicated than this. But these suborbital pads, very similar design. Like the 3 water tanks right there. Massey's has the 3 water tanks. In fact, I bet you it's those water tanks right there. Not only did SpaceX have this thing ready to go in less than a month again, they had 2 ready to go in less than 2 months. Well, actually, I don't know when suborbital pad B was, but you get the idea. Glad they didn't find this issue minutes before launch, right? There you go, man. Can you imagine if they just said send it and put that thing on the pad and that did that on the pad? You'd be looking at a Starship Super Heavy RUD on the pad, and that would be the end of that. This was 5 years ago, though. So, Aaron, I've seen people trying to make that frankly tone-deaf point. Like, oh, SpaceX is taking a step backwards. You know they redesigned the entire ship, right? Like the whole V2 is a completely different design. Like, it's a completely different design. You can watch my buddy Zach over at CSI Starbase showing the differences in the design with animations from Ryan Hansen and Chrome Kiwi and stuff. It's a completely different design. Like, now, I think the right question to ask is, if it's a completely different design, why didn't you do another hop test program with it? Somebody at SpaceX was very confident that they could just kind of blaze right through it. You redesign the entire ship. If you redesign the entire ship, fun fact, you have to retest it, and you might run into some problems. Guys, as much as I hate using this exact thing as a case study, there's a reason why SLS worked on the first try. As much as I hate using that as an example, there's a reason why it worked on the first try, because they didn't change much. The MPS on SLS, that thing right there, the main propulsion system, is basically the space shuttles. It's like an exact copy of it, with some changes here and there, some slight changes here and there. The slight changes being like 4 engines, and then the CAPUs, core stage auxiliary power units. They can't use the fuel cells because the space shuttle had fuel cells, so they have to find they had to use a different type of APU for the MPS. But that's basically a shuttle aft segment with 4 engines. That's the back of the space shuttle. There's a reason why it worked, because they didn't change much. Now, like I said, as much as I hate using that as a case study, Heritage Hardware does have its payoffs. You know, SLS pretty much is like using the wrong formula but get the right answer at this point, but it does make sense. But they redesigned the entire ship. I don't see why people think this is a backward step. Why do you think it's a backward step? Because the previous ship worked and this one didn't? This is a completely different design. It is a completely different ship. It has different tank volumes. It has different payload bay volumes. There's not much heritage components from Block 1 that transferred over to Block 2. There's not much. Maybe the engines, and that's about it. But we haven't seen much problem from the engines, save for the one that liberated itself. But I think that wasn't because of the engine design. That was because I think someone forgot to tighten a bolt. I might be dumb, but how is the COPV part of a completely redesigned ship? The COPVs are probably the same. Yeah, sure. But I don't think this is a step backwards. You know, everybody's like, oh, this sucks. We're doomed. We're doomed. We're not. They redesigned the ships. So the point that I'm trying to make, dude, is that if you redesign the entire ship, dude, no one's that good at doing rocket science. You redesigned the whole damn thing. Why did you think it would work? We should have seen another suborbital hop program from SpaceX, but they had a little bit of a problem. There's no more suborbital pads because they decided to build real launch pads there instead. I think that's the big thing. Like, you think you can redesign it. No. All the problems that the Block 2 ship has had stem from basically it being new. And all of those problems probably would have been found if you did another suborbital hop campaign. That's the Raptor Roost stuff. I haven't asked Raptor Roost if I could show that, so I have seen it though. Yeah, test stand looks a lot worse than it actually is because it's covered in ship parts. Sorry, it was my fault it exploded. That's okay. Perhaps the big jump is the cause for the issues. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I mean. Everybody that's saying it's taking a step back. Hey, Burian, what's up? Anybody that says it's taking a step back, well, no, they had to redesign the ship. Why did they have to redesign the ship? Because the Block 1 version of the ship isn't isn't going to, the Block 1 version of the ship doesn't meet your stakeholder expectations. There's no way that design was going to hit your expectation of moving like 200 tons into orbit. So it needed a redesign. You had to. I don't know, dude. It's just hard to be optimistic with 4 pops in a row. To be honest. And that's why you don't run a space program, dude. You can't be like that. You can't. You can't. Aaron, I know it hurts and I know it sucks. It's not fun, but you can't be like that, dude. That is not a good mentality to have. If you go into it thinking it's going to fail, well, that means you're not giving your hardware the best opportunity for success, and it will fail. It will bite you. You have to keep your head up. I don't think this is a problem. I really don't. Monoprop, I agree with everything you're saying, and I don't think we're there yet, but but isn't there a point where there's enough failures from slow project where you go, this isn't good? SpaceX had that point a long time ago, Monoprop. They had that point probably before Flight 7. They had it before Flight 7, dude. How do I know? They redesigned the ship. Again. Please just... EJ, please just part of testing if I'm right. I don't know what that sentence means, Chris, but all right. Why do we have to build a new test stand? Just clean off the one that's there. Well, Ari, they might not even have to. But I probably wouldn't screw with the Massey's transport test stand thing. Ow. 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 Back. Please stop. Ow. I probably wouldn't screw with that, like the one that's there. Let's be real, dude. It was introduced to a very large amount of heat energy very quickly. That can screw with the molecular structure of the steel. Long story short, it's cooked. It actually is cooked. It actually got cooked. Like, that's not good for steel. I don't know what type of steel that test stand is made out of. It's probably some really strong stuff. Steel doesn't get tempered like that. Like, that type of steel is really strong because it needs to hold up the stupid thing. It needs to hold up the ship, right? So it's probably really, really high-grade steel. You screw with the temperature with high-grade steel, it's not going to be high-grade steel anymore. It's why you see cars with fire damage. Like, if an automobile has fire damage, why they don't rebuild it. It's just junk. You scrap it. It goes in the scrap pile. It goes in the square hole. Right? Because it tempers the steel. You're screwing with you're screwing with it. You're maybe not melting the steel, but you're definitely introducing way too much heat. It's like the welder, dude. If I introduce too much heat in the welder, we either blow through or it waves out the metal, right? Right? It's the same idea here. I wouldn't use that test stand, even if it looks okay. Even you'd have to run a testing campaign for your stupid test stand to verify that it's okay. Just build another one. Scrap that one, build another one. Just scrap it. Just put it in the junkyard. Put it off to the side. Forget about it. Don't even bother. When steel is tempered, it becomes harder and more brittle. That's what I'm worried about, Spoiled. It becomes brittle. It basically crunches like peanut brittle. I wouldn't want them to reuse that and put Ship 37 on it, for instance, and then have the thing actually collapse. Like, but once again, Astro Knucklehead, $5 super chat. Oh, $5 Canadian, but oh yeah. I'm more worried about EJ's back than I am about Starship. Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem that I really can't fix. SpaceX can fix this problem. I ain't worried. I think you're forgetting it's designated to be right next to burning Raptor engines. The heat was nothing compared to that. I mean, fish, that's... Maybe, but that test stand was designed in mind with having flames in one part of it, not completely engulfed in flames, right? Like, dude, I would just make another one. I mean, you could go test it, right? But you could go test it. I'm not, okay, to be very clear here, that's a good point. I'm not saying that the test stand couldn't be salvaged. They could probably test it. It's probably fine. I wouldn't want my singular test stand to work, especially one that's designed to test things. I wouldn't want every test that you do from now on with the test stand be a test of the test stand itself. Does that make sense, dude? It might be fine, but you'd have to go and you would have to test Massey's to make sure that it's fine. Right? That's just all that testing on the test stand is wasting time. Just build another one. And the time it's going to take to test that stupid thing and make sure that the steel isn't brittle and do non-destructive testing on it, you could have just built another one. So just build another one. Steamroller. Get rid of it. It's junk. It's the SN15 thing. Yeah, this ship flew. It got us some good data. Scrap it. It's taking up space. Right? Does that make, like, am I thinking about this right? It'll take longer to do it, to test the test stand, right? In the time it's going to take you to test the test stand, you could have just built another one. That's a waste of time. That would be a waste of time. I blame D. D was there for ground testing and it failed. All of the ground tests didn't have D. We all love D. Well, yeah, some of us apparently are the kiss of death for Starship operations. The stand is just a bunch of steel plates, nothing complicated. Nothing complicated except holding up the 100-ton fueled ship. Everett, why? Why would you risk it? Why would you risk it? In the name of cadence? Why? Like, guys, okay, where my mind is at, dude, is that this test stand's not going to take long to fix. You could just make another one. Just make another one. It's going to take less than a month to manufacture that because it's so damn simple. So why try to save it? Just go make another one and then fix the pad while you're making a new test stand, right? And then while you're building the new one, verify everything else works and replace the booster quick disc or the ship quick disconnect because that's gone. My guess is that probably went with the ship when it exploded. And it's probably I'm really wondering how far the SQD flew. I bet you it got some good distance, you know? I'm not worried about the flame bucket. The flame bucket's solid concrete. As you said, I think Fluffy, as you said, that is, or Fish, well, Fish, you said that. It is designed to have rocket engines firing into it. I'm pretty sure this explosion did nothing to it. It's a reinforced concrete trench. It's not going anywhere. In a way, I'm happy about this. Find the flaws. Yeah, Bob, I'm not, this is not cope. I'm not just burying my head in the sand. It happens. With the way Starship is tested, it happens. Stuff explodes. That's what happens when you do iterative design. That's the whole point. You redesign the ship. They should have ran a new test campaign for the ship. That's very easy for me to say in hindsight, though. I mean, some of these problems, I think, are just bad luck. And there are other ideas that I have about industrial scaling with a space program that we'll talk more about during Space News. Yeah, well, part of it is laying on the transport stand, Creeper. Yeah, part of the ship is on the transport stand. Maybe the SQD is sitting to the side of it. Part of the ship is in the Rio Grande. We saw that from that Raptor Roost video. I mean, dude, I'd be wondering where the nose cone is, because the nose cone definitely got some distance. I'm wondering where the forward flaps are. I really want to see a flyover. I want to see the distance, because that was a mother of an explosion. It was pretty cool. What thrust do the engines produce during the static fire? Well, Max, that's not really a good way to look at it with a test stand. What thrust do they produce? They're probably... Okay, so let me explain a little bit of a testing regime here. Okay, Raptor engines are rated for a certain amount of thrust. This test stand is obviously rated to have 6 of them going full blast for a minute, right? If that's the case, I'm going to engineer my test stand. Say the engineers decide that the best way for the Massey's test stand, you kind of center it around a minute duration burn, right? Let's just say that's the maximum we've seen from Massey's, right? Let's just say that they did that. If I'm an engineer or a structural engineer and going to test that pad, I'm testing that pad to be able to crank a Raptor engine to like 150% theoretical throttle or whatever your safety factor is. Now, I know that's not exactly what you asked, but I'm getting to something here. The engines are designed to fire at full blast because the test stand is designed to take 6 engines at beyond full blast because that's how you build test stands. Your test stands are often overbuilt because you need to test it. You need to, the whole idea of a test stand is to put the ship through the ringer and put it in failure modes that you might encounter during flight. Those failure modes and scenarios, load scenarios, dynamic scenarios, vibration scenarios are derived from your analysis on the vehicle. Right? And with SpaceX, because they're doing iterative design past flight data. So the test stand's designed to be put through the ringer, as Fish said. Now, yeah, it's probably fine, but probably fine doesn't work very well if you're trying to get conclusive results. You'd want your test stand to be in the same configuration that it was right before ship 36 popped, because clearly this problem isn't with the test stand, it's clearly with the ship, because the ship obliterated itself and not the test stand, right? So you'd want to keep prior testing data contiguous with future testing data. You'd want it to be as similar to the configuration of that thing at point of failure. Yeah. That's the other reason why I say just rebuild it. Rebuild the damn thing. Because a tempered steel, the steel got doused in liquid oxygen and then lit on fire right after that. You may have heat treated the steel, and if you heat treat it, it's not going to give you the same results. It could, well, it's not, we don't know that for sure, but it's the uncertainty that forces my mind to just make another one, just scrap it, make another one. The flame trench, I'm not too worried about that. It's reinforced concrete. It ain't going anywhere. Would this be a qualified test problem? Surveyor, I've really narrowed it down to 2 things, dude. Okay, I've narrowed this down to 2 things. 1, it's very clear that SpaceX is very much doing a form of iterative design where you prototype a lot in kind of a screw around and find out kind of way, right? They do have simulations and analytics backing their testing criteria, which is how you're supposed to do this. You know, you're not just going to put the rocket on the test stand and be like, fire it. No, SpaceX has an army of engineers and computers doing simulations and figuring out good analytical models and then testing on the stand to make sure their analytical models match what actually happened, right? Like, dude, Starship is running like tower catch simulations probably right now as we speak on a SpaceX mainframe somewhere at one of their facilities. SpaceX is always prototyping with simulations because simulation prototyping is cheap. You want to achieve a high flight rate with Starship, why would your simulation testing be any different? If you want to achieve a high flight rate with actual flying hardware, you achieve a high flight rate with your simulation testing, right? Right? Interesting. KSP with realism mods. I haven't really started Sundance. The reason why is because we're talking about Ship 36 exploding on the test stand in real life last night. That was the best explosion I've seen in a long time. Might be at the top of the list. It was a pretty good one, man. It was a pretty good one. Because there was so much LOX in the mix and not enough methane, it made a really nice mushroom cloud. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I've narrowed this down to 2 things. 1, your testing regime is different than Ship 35 and Ship 34 and Ship 33. They would do a different testing regime because they're iterating. Maybe they found something new. Maybe they tested it slightly different. And you know, you do a slightly different test. You load fuel at different times, or something is out of sequence or something because of your new testing regime. It could blow up. It happens. That's pretty much what happened, you know, what happened with SN4, right? But then they fixed it with SN5, right? Like the SN4, from what I understand, they tried to retract the umbilical, the ship umbilical at a different time, and it got stuck, and it leaked, and then it exploded. So, a difference in testing regime could be a thing. Now, the other one could be QA. And I'm inclined to say that it probably is. It could be either one. I'm kind of 50-50. It could be quality. It's possible. Elon did say that there was a COPV that failed below proof testing. Meaning that if a COPV is designed to hold gas at really, really high pressure, if it was proof tested at 10,000 psi and failed at like 6,000 psi, it could be a design flaw in the COPVs. But I don't think that's right, because as Erudite said in chat, I don't think they've changed the COPVs. I think the COPVs are the same. That's one of the few things between Block 1 and Block 2 that are working correctly. Like, I don't think that, why would you change them? COPVs are usually bought in bulk from a supplier. SpaceX, i.e. SpaceX doesn't make those. They're usually bought from somewhere else. You could have had a bad batch. It's possible. But if it passed proof testing, could have been a QA problem at the COPV manufacturer. Simultaneously, it also could be a QA problem from integration. Composite overwrap pressure vessels are very finicky. They're like valves. They're very finicky. So what I'm trying to tell you is that somebody could have dropped it. Somebody may have dropped it. It happens. And that's a whole nother theory that I have with it being a quality assurance issue. That's a whole nother theory that I have that we'll talk about more during Space News. It was a Friday COPV. Exactly, Geek. Exactly. Yeah. But I will talk about ship QA and QC and stuff like that during Space News. You wouldn't just want one component to pop like that. Exactly. Now, here's the thing, guys. I have my theory that it could be a different testing regime, or it could be a QA problem. Here's the thing about spaceflight. It could be both. It could be both of those things. An improper testing regime could have exposed a failure mode in a COPV that was previously not there because you tested the tank in a different way. That is entirely a thing. Like, if the tank is tested for 10,000 psi and somebody dropped it and they tried to do something different with it this time, it could have exposed a failure mode with that COPV, a design flaw. That's what happened on Apollo 13, dudes. Yeah, it could be both of those things. It's possible. This is why fault tree analysis, troubleshooting spacecraft, and design those guys get paid a lot of money. People that do fault tree analysis make lots of money.
Discovery, go at
Because
throttle
it's
up.
complicated. It is like undoing. Think about it like failure mode analysis is like analyzing a chess game and undoing every move one at a time to figure out why a person lost. Like, actually, I'd say it's more complicated than a chess game, but that's the idea. It's tough, man. It could be both of those things, dude. It didn't fail from the first pressure cycling, so it may have fatigued over time. Bingo. With Apollo 13, someone dropped the fuel cell. They dropped it on the ground. Didn't say anything and just put it in the ship. And then the fuel cell passed testing. It passed QA. It passed QA, but that doesn't mean that the Teflon seals in the pressure vessel didn't crack. They cracked a little bit, and then when they depressed and pressed the tanks, they went to stir the tanks. Again, it exposed a crack that was already there that didn't manifest itself in testing. That's why this stuff is so damn tricky. Dude, it is possible that COPV passed all QA testing. But if somebody dropped it, or it was mishandled during shipping or something, or it was driving around in a truck and the truck was driving down Highway 4 and it went over a freaking bump, right? It went over a bump wrong and jolted the COPV. You wouldn't find it in testing. You'd have to put it through a certain amount of load cycles. That's what makes this stuff so damn complicated. It could be something as stupid as a truck hitting a pothole on Highway 4 and basically cracking a COPV. Dude, it's possible. These fault tree analyses are crazy, dude. Coming from the software engineering space, I'm a fan of the SpaceX approach. I'm also a fan of sometimes having to slow down to speed up, but I don't know what that might mean here with Starship V2. Grog, yeah. I will talk more about that because that has to do with my scaling and QA things. Like, that has more to do with that. It has more to do with that kind of stuff. FYI, there are job postings for COPV production on their website. Well, Phil, if they're in-house, that's going to be a little bit easier to do a fault tree. As far as I could tell, dude, that... Camaro. As far as I can tell, SpaceX did buy those COPVs, but I could be wrong. I could probably talk to somebody about this, but I'm not going to do that. I don't like knowing things that you guys don't. That's not how I convey space news. I don't like doing that. I don't be like, well, I know something you don't. In fact, I tell my buddies that work at SpaceX not to tell me anything. Do not tell me what's going on. I want to venture a guess, and then you, after the fact, with the information presented, see if I'm right. This is how I conduct space news. I try to talk myself through it. That's how we get so damn accurate with this stuff. Because I don't have people feeding me information, and I'm forced to think about it. Because I don't want people telling me what's going on. Do you think there will be an explosion when it's on the pad before launch? What are the chances? Well, Levin, your chances are probably decreased now because you figured out a way to blow one up on the test stand. That means that you're retiring risk of it blowing up on the pad. If it blows up on the test stand, dude, it's a little bit... It's probably easier. To not make it blow up on the pad.
Why are bananas the most popular fruit? Because they're just appealing.
You peel apples too, Geeson. Shut up. Pictures of COPVs washed up in the Turks and Caicos had Luxfor labels on them. Luxfor is the world leader in COPVs. That's what I mean. They might be bringing them in-house. Why do you hate the joy that dad jokes bring? It's just not funny. I'm gonna need you to recreate that explosion in your game. I don't know what made the explosion in the first place, Daily, but don't worry, it's Kerbal. We'll find a way to make something explode. Okay, so let's get started here. I want to build... How long did that intro last? An hour and 14 minutes. Good game. We'll talk more about this during Space News. I do have other theories here if my back lasts that long. So we came across a NASA technical report about a study for what rockets would look like in a post-Apollo, like what are the next rockets that would be needed for post-Saturn launch vehicles. So like, if the Apollo program had kind of kept going, where would it have gone? Like, what type of vehicles are you going to need to build once you get to the moon? And this is provided the Apollo program kept going. Are you going to use Kerbal attachment system? What? Not to build this rocket, dude. How's the catching tower doing? It works, but that's not what we're working on today. Time for a standing desk. Standing doesn't really help me in this scenario, Mutter. Like, we're way past the benefits of a standing desk, dude. Like, yeah. Anyway, Don't worry, I have an ice pack, a gigantic ice pack duct taped to my back, and that seems to be helping. The ice is just making everything numb, so I can't feel anything back there. Well, that's not entirely true. It hurts. But, I was interested in seeing it in use, maybe in the future. I don't know, Geek. Yeah, I would be after Kerbal Attachment System to get cables, so I can make cranes, so I can lift things. Stream from a bed, then. I'm not streaming from where I sleep. Why? I have boundaries. We have boundaries. Boundary is like basically by the phone right here. See what I mean? Yeah, we have boundaries here, sir. He hasn't become a parent to the jokes. I hate you, outdoorsman. Why are you like this? Don't encourage this behavior. Stream from another bed. You suck. So these rockets are kind of where they would see what would be seen after, like if the Saturn V was built and then they built Nova, and then they kept going with the Apollo program. Now, man, did these melon farmers have some kick to them, to say the least. KSP, we need it. You are our only hope. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to do this here, but my stream's getting inundated with stupid puns and dad jokes. Unless you're a dad, you can't make that joke. Can't make those jokes. Have kids then. Great, interesting show. Thanks. Yeah, trying, Brad. He will also help relax the muscles. Yeah, I know, outdoorsman. I know. I slept on a heating pad on full blast. Basically the whole night. Tried to drive on 340 TW tires today. There was almost an incident. I can't have kids. It might throw us back out. That's not funny. The heat from Ship 36 should help your back. Are we going to get anything done today, or should I just switch us to space news? Do you have a P.O. box? I'd like to buy you a back pillow that saved my bacon when I had back pain. I can at least give you a link. The P.O. box is a command in chat, YG, I think. So much back advice, maybe chat should walk it back a little. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna shut this. I'll turn this damn stream around. That'll end your precious little pun trip pretty damn quick, huh? Hey.
How you doing?
I'm all right. The ice is helping, but they won't stop making puns about backs, and it's making me want to hit the off button.
This is where if I had a really good back pun, I would use it right now. I don't. So, just imagine I had a really good back pun. Do you need new ice? Are you good?
No, it's still cold.
Okay, cool. Hey, that's all. Let me. Oh, your phone. Did you get a text or anything?
No.
Alright. Well, let me know.
I got a sponsorship opportunity from Roblox.
Could it take it?
No. No. No, I'm good. Take it? No. No, I'm good. Remo is the backbone of this stream. I'll allow that one, Rhino. Take it and spend the money on some big fat rims for the Coronet. And NS, I'd prefer if you guys funded that project. Do the backup lights work on the crew cab charger? multiplanetary, they did work. But there's a problem. There's no backup lights because there's no tail. There's no backup
this is
to
space.
car
I'm in space.
right now. They did. They worked when I took them out, man, if that's what you're trying to say. Oh, so now we're paying for everything. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. I can't do this, man. I can't do this. I know you're kidding, and I know you're making jokes. The problem is making me laugh really hurts. Like I can't. You gotta stop. I'm serious, man. Like, it hurts. The crew cab Charger's back is in better shape than yours. Yeah, and if I could weld this back together, I would. God, thanks for the bits. Why, Mr. Streamer? Do you want us to backpedal on the... Just watch your back for things that could cause pain. Yes, I know. Block, like laughing. Zombie, 7-month resub. Good to be back. A doctor confused them for you. All right, fellas, let me be very clear. Like, I appreciate the funny jokes. Thank you. Guys, I've had a herniated disc for 10 years. I know all the fixes. I have an inversion table. I have ice packs. I have heating pads. I know all the things that you can do, all the stretches. I know all that. It's just not been a thing on the stream because it hasn't ever been bad enough to cripple me from...
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
If only we could weld your spine back together.
I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up. Thank you, but I'm gonna hang up. Get back to work. Those you guys are awful. We're gonna have back-to-back streams with you having back issues. Dude. I'm not kidding, that hurts. I tried to switch us over to KSP a half hour ago, Shaw. We do this because we care about you. I know, man. I know. All right. So, turn off chat for 10 minutes? I can't do that, dude. I blame Bakalakadakistan for that. So I appreciate all the support, dudes. I only wish I could get this much support from my back. Oh God, now I'm doing it too. I hate all of you. I was trying to segue, and I saw your segue, damn it. This isn't working. I might just axe this VOD and just switch to Space News, dude. Okay, Tipsy, that's fair. No, seriously, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate all the kind words. For real. Like, serious for a second. This sucks. There's really not... guys, like, I know all the stretching that I need to do. I know all the stuff that I need to do. The only way that fixes this is just stretching, sitting on the heating pad with the ice pack, heating pad, ice pack, heating pad, ice pack, heating pad, ice pack. That's the only way this gets better. There's no other way around it. Like, painkillers could do it, but the painkiller isn't going to fix things. That's the thing. You know, I've been taking Advil like crazy, but the problem is if you tweak it again, you can't feel it, right? Because the Advil or painkillers or whatever, right? You can't feel it. So you don't feel yourself screwing up your back again, and then you wake up the next day and it's worse. Like, there's no way to fix this until the inflammation goes away. Basically, I pinched a nerve back there, and it has to chill. It's like a toothache. Anybody ever had a toothache? When you know, if you chip a tooth, right, and it goes to the nerve and it's just that constant because the nerves are inflamed, that's what's happening with my back. It sucks. It's awful. And toothaches suck. I've had those too. Will Marshawn go back to the Bruins? Probably. Are you still in the good chair, though? Yeah. You may know what is needed, but are you doing it? That's what I've been doing the past 2 days, man. L4-5 herniation. I think it's 3. I forget, dude. It was a long time ago. It's down there. It's my lower back. I pinched a disc a long time ago on the loading dock, and yeah. Just dip your back in some locks. How many Kerbals does it take to build a starship? None. They don't build ships. They build sudden deorbit modules. Surgery? Oh, Aitor, that's what I'm trying to avoid, because the surgeries only mitigate the problem. They don't fix it. Just like everything else, dude. You're screwed. Take care of your back, dudes. Because you only get one, and if you hurt it, you're paying for that mistake for the rest of your life. Like, there's no modern fix for that. Maybe Neuralink someday. That would be really nice. Why did the space shuttle not have USS on it? Because it's not a ship. It's not a Navy ship. The USS is the designation United States ship for a naval vessel. The shuttle wasn't a Navy vessel. For my back, I bought a racing sim seat because you can set it up like a gravity chair. Yeah, cats. I haven't done that one yet, but yeah. Do you have a backup plan for this plan? L5S1 here got surgery, and now it's L4, L5. Next will be L3, L4. Yep, it's like playing whack-a-mole. There's really no fixing this problem. So the best thing that you can do is build up your core. Like, build up all the muscles around there so the muscles will hold your spine in place and not have that happen. I am not in shape, and my core is caca. So, yeah, I'll put this out on the internet. I'll put it out here so you guys know I am getting in shape after this. No ifs, ands, or buts. I can't have this happen. I don't get paid time off. You know what I mean? Like, this can't happen. I have to be here, and this is something that I haven't paid for until now. Yeah, round is a shape. So yeah, I gotta make sure that we do this. Yes, core keeps your back healthy. I don't know if you watch NASCAR, but who do you think is gonna win this weekend at Pocono? Larson? Probably Larson. I want Joey to win, but yeah. Bench pressing an axle. Believe it or not, my back was fine from that, Snake. I'm telling you, I think, guys, so here's the thing. It's like it's like playing Russian roulette. You don't know what's going to make it hurt and make it not hurt. I did lift the racing rig into position on Monday to play beam, right? And I think I tweaked it, and then when I reached for the mouse, it tweaked it fully, and yeah, it's been a nightmare since then. EJ once a week workout stream. Maybe. I vote for EJ workout streams in spandex and a sweatband. Nobody wants to see that, dude. Is your favorite show Breaking Back? Stop it. Stop it. They say core workouts help prevent back issues. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a good thing GTA's on Friday. Yeah, Dink, I can't race. I can't race. That's why I didn't do summer car. We're just going to have to take a mulligan on it, which sucks, but time to build. So, post Saturn V rockets. Hokey, thank you for the tip. I appreciate it, man. Yoga with EJ as long as he wears yoga pants. I don't want to do that. Should have taken the damn day off. So I want to build this one right here, this Class 1 baseline vehicle. It has 18 F1 engines in the first stage and 3 M1 engines in the first stage, or second stage. The M1 engines are cryogenic F1 engines. So we figured out, Space News, I think it was on Tuesday, that the M1 engine started to get made. They were making it, I think it was Aerojet Rocketdyne was making it just outside of Sacramento, right here. Turns out they have well, not anymore. They had a gigantic facility out here with tons of rocket test stands for testing out different things. These are all old rocket test stands and test cells and stuff. They did build the entire M1 testing facility. It was right here. Static fire tests, gas generator tests, all kinds of stuff. You see where these big shields are, there were pressure vessels, gigantic pressure vessels here. LOX tanks, hydrogen tanks. You can see what's left of the test cells are right there. You can see they built out an entire facility for it and then canceled it. Your grandpa worked on missiles out there. Nice, Ilowin. That's cool. So, yeah, the M1 engine was basically a Hydrolox F1 engine. It was an upper stage version of an F1 motor using hydrogen instead of kerosene. Think Vector, the vacuum Raptor, to regular Raptor, but with a propellant change. These motors would have been gigantic. M1s would have been about the size of a 3-story building. Yeah, here, let me show you some scale. Yeah, that's not including the turbine machinery. Yeah, M1 engines have a 40-to-1 expansion ratio, and they're like, yeah, as tall as a 3-story building. Yeah, so like 1 story here, another story here, another story here, like 3 stories, like the roof of a 2-story house in the United States.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
EJPTO Fund.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Ghost Rider. They did start fabricating components for it. There you go. There is the combustion chamber, throat, and the start of the nozzle for an M1 next to a Gemini capsule. It's actually as big as a Gemini capsule. Yeah. Yep, and they built all the associated test stands and paraphernalia out there. We figured that all out. And then they never used them. So, you know, there's renders of all their test stands too. Here, I believe it's in this space review article here. Yeah, see, these M1s would have been utilized in the Nova rocket first, right? Saturn Nova, and then they would have been utilized in post-Saturn rocket applications. So basically the next generation of Saturn rocket. The pillow will be there Saturday. It wouldn't let me ship it any faster. Hope that helps. Thanks, YG. You're a good friend, man. Thank you. So they had all the components manufactured for it. There's its turbine assembly. Freaking rocket engine with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-stage axial gas generator. Because frick you, how much power do you want to make? All the test stands were built for it. The injector plate is the size of a coffee table. Just, you know, putting that out there. Coaxial injector plate, for if people are asking. And then there's all the test facilities right there. All of them built out completely with tanks operational. More operational than Massey's right now. And then they promptly did nothing with them because they canceled the Apollo program. But if the M1 had flown, yes, they had fabricated flight hardware, by the way, and all the test stands. Yeah, there's the nozzle assembly. It's still around. It's at Evergreen. Did they test fire them? They tested the gas generators. They were building serial number 1. That's what that engine is. They were building the... They were building the serial number 1. They did all these other test stands are test stands for the gas generator, for the hydrogen gas generator, oxygen gas generator. So basically the fuel pumps. And then there's our integrated test stand. I do believe that's the integrated test stand right there, the one with the deflector. I could be wrong though. It might have been that over here too. There's a hefty flame. No, that's definitely not. That's not a flame diverter. That's just something else. Also down here could have been the test stands too. Either way, yeah, that's they never did a full firing of it. They tested the gas generators. But dude, like, there you go. This thing was going to be made. Dude, a 7-stage axial gas turbine is insane. That you usually don't see a staged axial gas generator like that. That's very weird. Usually you see 2-stage, maybe 3-stage. But yeah, and then there's your hydrogen impeller. I'm going to guess because of the staging here that's probably the hydrogen turbo pump. 75,000 shaft horsepower from the hydrogen turbo pump. 75,000 horsepower. That's more than Raptor. Like, way more than Raptor. Is it powered by steam? No. No. It says it's 2-stage turbine with 10-stage axial flow. Yeah. Oh, I see. Hold up. It says it's a 2-stage turbine with 10-stage axial flow. So these right here for the gas generator were there to get your explosion going this way. Those are to steer that explosion towards the turbines. I get it. I mean, that's what an axial compressor basically does. Will it fit in the coronet? I'm pretty sure that's like bigger than the engine and transmission in the coronet. Can it cook
Discovery, go at
s'mores?
throttle up.
Yes, yeah, no doubt. So yeah, that would have been the second stage engine to these post Saturn rocket vehicles. There would have been 3 of them in the upper stage. 32.4 million pounds of thrust from the first stage in this design. For example, the Saturn V made about 7.5 million pounds of thrust. Super Heavy makes about 15 million pounds of thrust. This thing with 18 F1 engines would have made 32 million pounds of thrust. The first stage is basically the power equivalent of 2 Super Heavies strapped to each other. So like this is Starship Super Heavy, Super Heavy. Payload, 980,000 pounds. It's an old American document, so it's in imperial, not metric. 980,000 pound throw weight is about 480 tons to low Earth orbit. 480 metric tons. Actually, it's probably a little lower than 480. It's like 450, something like that. Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely, this is just an absolutely insane vehicle. And I want to build it in Kerbal. I'm not sure we're going to get around to it today, guys. My back isn't cooperating, and I want to have a good space news today. But this thing would have had, we looked it up. It's here somewhere. The first stage diameter is 65.5 feet, which is about 20 meters. Yeah, that's 20 meters. And then the second stage diameter is 60 feet, which is about 18.5 meters. We're talking mind-blowing rockets here. So we will get back to it later. Is the Rhino in Kerbal supposed to be an M1? The Rhino engine? Yeah. It's supposed to be analogous. The engines in Kerbal are kind of analogous. They're similar, but they've been Kerbalized for gameplay purposes, dude. That's the big one. They're Kerbalized. So like the Skiff engine right here, that is a J2. That's a J2 motor. This doesn't really have an equivalent. You know, yeah, it's probably an M1. That's probably what it would be the closest one to. This engine, the Rhino engine is a very, very big, very powerful upper stage engine in KSP, at least in stock KSP. 2,000 kilonewtons at 340 vacuum. That's really, really good. That's really powerful. Ship 36 blew open from the front through the middle of the methane tank. What is housed in there? We'll get into a more detailed analysis. Sorry, man. It's we'll get into a more detailed analysis during Space News. What about the Terrier and the Poodle? How tall is the rocket? I don't. 450 feet tall. It's one thing I didn't like about KSP. Upper stage engine had small nozzles. It's not far-fetched, man. RL-10s had small nozzles for the longest time. It only was until the 80s and into the 90s where they started giving them nozzle extensions. Freaking J2, man. So what would the modern day equivalent of a mainsail be? I don't think the mainsail really has any analog, dude. 1500 285 at 310. No, they made the mainsail engine look like the Ariane Space Vulcan engine. They made it look like Vulcan, but it don't work like Vulcan. Well, yeah, it's kind of like that. I'd say the mainsail is somewhere between Vulcan, Ariane 6's and Ariane 5's Vulcan engine and a YF-77 from China. I mean, it's the YF-77 is basically a copy of it, but whatever. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, we have an F1 engine equivalent here. We have the Mastodon, which is, that's basically an F1 motor. We can make that work. And then with that and the Rhino engine, yeah, we can make this. It's going to end up looking like my Triton rocket, dude. Triton is very similar to this. The Triton rocket is the biggest rocket that I've ever made in KSP. This one's probably going to give it a run for its money. Triton doesn't work anymore. Yeah, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work. Anytime I try to put Triton out on the pad, it just blows up. But we're probably going to end up building something like this. That's Triton. Yes, the first stage comes back. Yeah, we'll do the... Guys, you know what, dudes? I'm sorry, I didn't play much Kerbal, but I'm probably going to take a break just so I can get up and stretch and walk around for a little bit and then put the heating pad back on. We'll work on this pending the back. What I'm trying to do is save this a little bit because I can only sit for so long before it really starts to hurt. I'm going to redo part 1 of this series, and we'll go from there when my back is less not uncooperative. What I want to do is go stretch and lie down for a little bit and then come back at 4:30, 5 o'clock for space news. I want to do a detailed analysis of Ship 36, and I really have some thoughts to share that I think you guys might appreciate. I gotta take a break, dudes. I'm sorry. I got it. It's getting worse. So I gotta get up and stretch and give it the heating pad, and then yeah. I apologize for being so finicky with the stream, guys. Yeah. It's really not my idea of locking in for June like I wanted to, but just have to do locked in July when I get back from vacation. Just gonna have to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna take probably about a 2.5 hour break here. I'm gonna go lie down. And I will be back as best as I can for space news. Dang you. I'm sorry. Like, I want to be here. I really do. I just can't sit for very long. And once again, trying to force the issue is just going to make it worse. So, it's rough getting old. It sucks. It sucks. This sucks. Take care of your back. So, guys, I'll see you in about 2 hours, around 5 o'clock. Around the well, that's 3 hours, but around the normal space news start time, okay? Part 1 kind of sucked. Sorry if you made it this far in the VOD. Yeah, I'll do a part 1.1 where we play more Kerbal. It's just tough to focus, man. The pain's getting pretty bad, so I'll be back in a little bit. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll do a more detailed Ship 36 analysis for space news. Should be in about 3 hours, okay? I'll see you then. And thank you for everybody that's supported. I really appreciate it, guys. I'm sorry I can't be here. It really bums me out. But I know you got to take care of yourself, so I'll see you guys then. Thank you.